Good morning, all of you. So, in the previous class, we started our motional EMF. Now let us see some more problems based on that motional EMF there. So, in the last class, at the ending of this class, we discussed in case of motional EMF produced or induced EMF produced in case of non-linear conductors. So, in case of non-linear conductors, so there we mentioned we need to take the shortest distance between those 2 points, right? Those 2 ends. So write a few examples based on it so that you will get the more clarity about that. And so like suppose if I am taking this semicircular wire here, so let us take this as AB. So this is the point C I am taking here, and this is the point O. This is a semicircular wire of radius R. This is the point O. Now let us say it is moving with some velocity V in a magnetic field which is there into the plane here. And so now if I ask the induced EMF produced between the points A and B, and so A and B means then what we can write is only conductor is there here. So if you are writing the induced EMF produced in A and B, then what we can write is, according to our previous discussion, we need to replace this total curved conductor by a straight wire, right? And so if you are replacing it by a straight wire, and let us also identify which is higher potential, either A is higher potential or B is higher potential. So we can apply this right hand rule. So field is into the plane and motion of the conductor is along this direction. Current is flowing from B to A. When current is flowing from B to A, then B is a lower potential. And so that VA minus VB is equal to, so I can write this as VA minus VB is equal to BLV sin theta formula. So here it is B into L is 2R, now we need to consider, into V, and that sin theta value will be 90 degrees. Is it clear? We are replacing this curved conductor by a straight wire, and so that straight wire length we are taking it as 2R. And suppose if they ask between A and C, so for A and C if they ask, then it's projection now you can take here. So similarly now I can write this as A and C. If you are writing here, then I can write this as VA minus VC is equal to B into R into V sin theta, that means sin 90 you can write. Because actually this will be the straight conductor you need to replace actually here. So when the conductor is straight conductor is there like this, then we know we need to take the component of either velocity or component of length we need to consider. So you may consider either component of velocity. For taking component, then this length will be root 2r you will get, and V sin 45 you will get, V by root 2 you will get. So root 2r into V by root 2 means, and finally you will get that only. So then directly what I am taking is its projection along here you can take here. The potential difference between AC and potential difference like OC will be same value, numerical value you will get there. So like that you can write here. Now in the same example, now let us consider that if the semicircle is moving like this. So like if the semicircular wire AB and this is the point C, now if it is moving like this with the velocity V in the same magnetic field which is there into the plane here. So now in this case, if I ask the magnetic induced EMF here, so induced EMF in that case we can write this as, so induced EMF across this AB value will be now 0. Can you say why it is 0? Because AB now we need to replace by a straight wire here. If you are replacing it by a straight wire, then this L bar and V bar are parallel to each other. So L bar and V bar are parallel to each other, so that the induced EMF will be 0. We discussed already, out of those 3 vectors, if any 2 vectors are parallel, then induced EMF will be 0, right? And whereas when you are writing between A and C, so for A and C, as I said, you can take the projection of this length here. So the projection of that length if I write, then you can apply the right hand rule to find the which is higher potential, A and C. So for that A and C, now I can write this induced current is, say field is inwards here, motion of the conductor is like this. Then the current is flowing from C to A. So C is a lower potential there. So I can write this as VA minus VC is equal to B into R into V you can write. The same, either like previous to this you can take the component of this and the component of velocity you can take. So instead of that what I am taking is this projection directly you can take here. Potential difference across this AC is equal to potential difference across OC you can take there, right? And so like that you need to consider in case of this curved conductors here. We need to take the shortest distance between those 2 points there. And in case of if the situation is like this, if you are getting, then its projection now we can consider directly there. Instead of AC, you may consider that OC length you may consider there in that case, right? And so next here, if suppose if you are taking this complete circle, for example, if you are taking it as a complete circle here instead of a semicircle, now let us take it as a complete circle like this. And now I am taking some points like this is A, B, C, and this is point D. And in addition to that, I am taking some two more points here, like this is point E. Let us take this as point F. And so then these are the different points what we are assuming here. So this length I am taking, this angle I am taking it as theta. And so now let us consider that here magnetic field is there into the plane, uniform magnetic field, and I am taking that it is moving along this direction here. It is moving with the velocity v along this direction. And so now let us see how to find that induced EMF in this case here. So in case of induced EMF, if I ask between points A and B, A and B and A and C on like different points they may ask here. So for example, if I ask between A and C, the induced EMF between A and C, if I ask, can you say the induced EMF between A and C? The induced EMF between A and C will be 0. So between A and C, if you want to answer, so that means then you can consider the circuit as like this. So BLV induced EMF will be there in the semicircle ABC, and at the same time this also the induced EMF will be there like ADC. As we discussed here, this this front part of the semicircle is same as that of that one. So you can write this induced EMF between AB means here AC we are taking here. So that point is B into 2R into V you can write. At the same time, the induced EMF will be there in this part also. So they are equal and opposite each other. That means we can represent that as, so between A and C, so I will represent this diagram like this. So which is higher potential here, field is into the plane, it is moving like this. So then A is a higher potential. So then AC, and then this side also now we can represent this EMF like this. So that means for this semicircle, one EMF will be there. So this is AC and this is the B here and this is D, ABC and this is ADC. So then here induced EMF will be equal to B into 2R into V, and here also induced EMF is equal to B into 2R into V. So they are equal and opposite, so that net EMF will be there equal to 0. So we mentioned that induced EMF will be there in the part ABC and in the part ADC, which is they are equal in magnitude, B into 2R into V. So that net EMF in that circular loop will be 0. Is it clear? And then next, similarly, if I ask between like BD, between BD if you are taking here, then clearly you can say that induced EMF, this velocity and length are parallel to each other, and so that we can mention that induced EMF will be 0. So here V bar and dB bar are parallel. V bar and dB bar are parallel. Therefore, induced EMF between dB is 0. There is no induced EMF between dB. And next, similarly, if you are writing that E and F, so between induced EMF between E and F, if you want to answer here. So now that E and F, you can say that it is making an angle theta here. So then I can write this as induced EMF between E and F. We can mention it as B into 2R into V sin theta. Now we can write here. It's a component. It's component along this direction. That means the component of this. The component of this, if you can simply resolve this velocity into components here. Simply this velocity is V, so V cos theta and V sin theta you will get. So you can V sin theta component you may consider there. And here also the EMF will be there along this direction for this part, this semicircle and this semicircle are equal in magnitude and opposite in direction. So that the net EMF will be 0. Only if you are taking the individual parts either of the semicircle, then you can write that value. and the net EMF in that circle, complete circle will be 0. That means if you are taking again the complete circle, EMF in this part and EMF in this part will be like this only, you can draw here. And there you can mention that net EMF is 0 if you are taking that as a complete circle, right? So like that you can answer that induced EMF in case of this curved conductors. Is it clear? Now let us see some problems based on this. Based on this motional EMF. So just first for that I will consider this case here, the motion of this the motion of a conductor on parallel rails. That means it's the basic, and based on basic case, and based on this lot of problems are there for us. That means this is the conductor I am drawing like this, it's a rod, and so its resistance is R and its length is, let us consider this length as L, and so then it is say moving with some velocity V here, right? So just I am writing this motion of rod on two parallel rails. So just we are discussing the basic case, and based on that lot of problems will be there. Like suppose now what I am taking is, let us consider this is a rod AB, and throughout this region the magnetic field is there inwards, uniform magnetic field is there inwards. And so then you may consider that this is PQ, one long rail, and this is RS is another rail here, and this capital R is the resistance there, resistance of this wire. And so just to mention that two long parallel rails are placed on horizontal surface at separation L. Placed on horizontal surface at separation L. These two are connected by a resistance R. These two are connected by a resistance R. A rod AB of length L, is placed on the rails, and is moving towards right, B is a uniform magnetic field placed perpendicular to the plane. Then now let us see the different parameters related to this here. That means whatever the different parameters we can write related to this, now we are going to write those parameters. So as the rod is right, or induced EMF will be there first of all. So if induced EMF is there, then let us think about which is a higher potential here. So higher potential out of that AB. So then out of that AB means again we need to apply our right hand rule, Fleming's right hand rule. So if you are applying Fleming's right hand rule, then field is inwards, rod is moving like this, and so then velocity, that current will be there from A to B. So current is flowing from A to B means then B is a higher potential we can write. And so therefore what I can write here is induced EMF is equal to, so induced EMF is equal to, E is equal to, here I am writing this polarities also, VA minus VB, which is equal to this BLV, now we can write. And so now here this current is flowing from this A to B. So here current will flow like this current I, induced current. Now I am writing that induced current here. So here let us assume that the resistance of this rod or the resistance of this rails are negligible. If you want, you can mention that the only resistance is R here. The only resistance we are assuming this as R. And so now induced current, now we can write this as induced current. So I is equal to E by R we can write. So sometimes there may be conditions like here resistance may be there for these rails, and there may be resistance for this rod also. So then if such a case is there, then you need to find the effective resistance here. So then they will mention this length and resistance per unit length there, and we will discuss such a type of problems. Then accordingly, then you can find the effective resistance, and the effective resistance you need to write in such a cases if any other resistance are there, right? So then this is our inducer current. So then this current is flowing through that conductor here. Now when the current is flowing through the conductor, now you can observe that AB, you can treat that as a current carrying conductor placed in magnetic field, right? So then we have to go back to our previous topic, like force acting on a current carrying conductor is placed in external magnetic field. So we derived a formula like BIL sine theta, right? Force, magnetic force acting on a current carrying conductors. And so now here that AB, now it is just a current carrying conductor. It may be the source of EMF, but now it is carrying some current, and so that current carrying conductor is placed in magnetic field, and so definitely some magnetic force will act on that. And so now let us identify the first direction of that magnetic force here. So the direction of that magnetic force is nothing but, how to find the direction of magnetic force? Now we need to apply the left hand rule, Fleming's left hand rule. So then field is into the plane, so forefinger is into the plane, and current is flowing upward direction, then thumb is towards this left here, and so this magnetic force direction will be along this direction. So towards left, this is a magnetic force. Therefore I am writing here magnetic force on rod AB. So this is F magnetic is equal to BIL, now we can write here BIL sine theta, that theta value is 90 degrees. And so now we can substitute that I value here. So then I value is nothing but this magnetic force is equal to, so finally what we can write is BL into I is nothing but this E by R, where E is BLV by R, and therefore it is BLV by R, and therefore this magnetic force is equal to B square L square V by R. So this will be the magnetic force acting on this conductor here, right? And so then this is the magnetic force. And so because of this magnetic force, now we can observe that the velocity of the rod goes on decreasing here, because this magnetic force is acting opposite to this velocity. Then if you want to maintain the constant velocity, then we should apply this external force here. And so that external force, now we can write this as the external force to be applied on this rod will be now along this direction here. So this is our F external force to be applied on that rod. So that is to maintain that constant velocity here. So next mention about that. So to keep velocity of the rod remains constant, velocity of rod remains constant, external force required, external force to be applied on the rod. So to be applied on the rod, now we can write this as F external is equal to, so then that is nothing but we should apply the force which is equal to the magnetic force here. So they are numerically equal to the magnetic force, if the, so that if they remain, that means if these two gets cancelled, then velocity of the rod remains constant, right? So therefore this external force, now we can write this as B square L square V by R, now we can write here. So this is the external force required there, which is equal to the magnetic force acting on this rod, right? And so now let us come back to the energy considerations or power considerations. So let us consider this now power delivered by this external force and power produced at the resistor here. So that means now, so rate of heat, so which is nothing but power produced at the resistor, rate of heat produced at resistor. So then this can be written as, so this power electrical I am writing here, electrical power. So then this power, now we can write this as V square by R formula, now we can write. So which is nothing but our E square by R, now I can write here, where E is induced EMF. So we know the formula for this power, I square or V square by R or VI we can write. So I am taking it as V square by R. So E means induced EMF. So by R. And so now that E means you can write this expression as B square L square V square by R square, right? So this is the electrical power which is producing at the resistor. And so now as we are applying this force here, that means that indicates that this force is doing some positive work, right? Because this force is applied along this direction and conductor is also moving in the same direction here. So that means it is doing some positive work. And so that means we are supplying some energy to that conductor. So now I'm writing like power delivered by the external force or power supplied by the external force here. So that means mechanical power, or just write it as power supplied by the external force. Power delivered by external force. So power delivered by this external force, now we can write this as this is our mechanical power or power delivered by this external force here. So this power we can write this as, so F external into velocity now I am taking here. That is generally our power formula in mechanics, right, which we discussed in applications of the dot product. In work power energy we will discuss in detail. That means in work power energy we discussed about that in first year. So we know that all of you know this formula here. Force into velocity we can write it as power. And so now this can be written as this mechanical force, that external force is nothing but like B square L square V square, sorry, V by R. This is our external force into this V. And so therefore this external force we can write this as so B square L square V square by R, right? So that means now we can observe that here whatever the external mechanical power delivered to the rod, so that same amount of power will appear as a heat energy. That will appear as a heat energy here. Whatever the work is done by this, that same amount of energy will be appear as heat energy in that resistor here. So that is nothing but our conservation of mechanical energy in case of this EMI here. So conservation of mechanical energy, which we mentioned already in the Lenz law. So Lenz law is based on the law of conservation of energy. So this is nothing but our law of conservation of energy proof for that. So that means whatever the mechanical work we are doing or the external energy we are supplying here, the same amount of energy will be appear as heat energy in that resistor, right? So that is the output from that, if this is the input there. And so therefore finally what we can conclude here is, so therefore this electric power is equal to mechanical power or external power supplied, so which is equal to external power into velocity you can write, or which is B square L square V square by R in this case. That expression is valid only for this circuit here, circuit shown, and this relations are basic standard relation here. External electric power is equal to external power or the mechanical power you can write. So that will be standard equation, that B square L square V by R is only valid for this circuit because we derived for this circuit there, right? So this is a basic circuit here. So as I said, remember this circuit you will get in based on this circuit, many problems will be there, lot of problems will be there in the TMI topic, right? So note that I will give problems based on this here. And so next write a problem based on this. And first let us see when there is some resistance for these rails, parallel rails. So in most of the problems they will do that they are resistance less. So if resistance is there, then let us find this values there. So now note down this. A rod AB of length L, is moving on two parallel rails, separated by a distance L. These two rails are connected by a resistance R. and the resistance per unit length of the each rail is lambda. Resistance per unit length of the each rail is lambda. A variable force F is applied on the rod AB. A variable force F is applied on the rod AB such that a constant current I flows through the circuit. A constant current I flows through the circuit. Find and here before that just mention that rod is assumed to be starting from the left end. Just mention that assumption there. Assume rod AB starts moving from the left end. Rod AB starts moving from the left end. Then find expression for velocity and variable force. Expression for velocity and variable force as a function of F. As a function of X. As a function of distance travelled by the rod X. As a function of distance travelled by the rod X. And also find next question. Find the fraction of external power or external energy, converting into heat, right? So it is a given question here. Yes, F is variable. Now there is some resistance for this lambda here. And so now at any instant let V be the velocity. Let us consider that we are assuming here, and so this distance we are taking it as X. And so that now distance is there. So that you need to consider here. And just you can write this induced EMF, all those data and induced current now you can write by our general procedure here. So induced EMF now you can write this as so induced EMF is equal to BLV. So that is it is moving with the velocity at the given instant we are assuming. So let V be the velocity at that instant. So V may be variable and this F is a constant current is flowing here. That is only the given information for us. This F is a variable force. So now current at any instant now I am writing here. So this current I is equal to, so then induced EMF E by that effective resistance now we need to write. So that induced EMF is BLV by effective resistance means R plus. So then the resistance of this part now we can write as lambda into X because lambda is the resistance per unit length is given. So here lambda into X will be there and here also lambda into X will be there. So 2 lambda into X. Is it clear? This is the total resistance now. So now the given information is this value is a constant value here. This current is a constant current is flowing here. That is the given information for us. And so now from that what we can write is we can write an expression for this force here. Expression for the force and velocity now we can write here. And from this velocity now we can write this expression here because I is known to us. So we can write that velocity expression from this. So velocity of the rod now we can write this as velocity V is equal to R plus 2 lambda into X into I by B into L. So that is now velocity expression. And now force equation now we can write here. Therefore force can be written as so therefore magnetic force acting on this we can write this as F magnetic is equal to BIL now we can write here. So therefore this expression you can write just you can substitute that I expression by using this here, or you can keep that I value there itself because that I value is given so I value is known to us there. And then if you want you can find the like you can find this magnetic force will be no along this direction here. Magnetic force will be along this direction. You can write this force equation for this. Magnetic force means you can apply this just this left hand rule. Field is into the plane and current is flowing upward direction. So the magnetic force will be there along this direction here, right? And so now if I write the force equation here, so the net force equation now I am writing here. So the net force equation now you can write this as net force is equal to F minus F magnetic, so that you can write this as M into V into dV by dx. Now we can write here, right? MA, that A value as a function of displacement we are writing here, V into dV by dt. Now I am writing acceleration. So now Fm you can substitute here. So F is equal to Fm plus M into V into dV by dx. Now we can write here. So therefore this is BIL. This is a magnetic force which we can write by using that equation. And so this magnetic force is, now you can say that, constant in magnitude, because B is constant, L is constant, and it is given that I is also constant in this problem here. So that magnetic force is constant and this force is variable now. And so now this is M into that V value. Now we can substitute here, that V value is nothing but R plus 2 lambda into X by BL into I. This is our V value. And next you need to write the differentiation of that V again. So the differentiation of that V means, again you can write this as R plus 2 lambda into X into I by B into L. Now we can write here. Is it clear? That V into dV by dx now I am writing there. And so that you will get the force expression here. So BIL plus, so M into R plus 2 lambda into X into I. So there I and BL also you can take outside here, and therefore I square into B square into L square. Now we can write here. The differentiation of this means lambda into R differentiation is 0, because R is a constant value. So 2 lambda X. So I can write this as 2x into, again the dx by dt is nothing but velocity. Now we can write here the dx by dt value. And so now again you need to substitute this expression here finally. And therefore this force expression is like BIL plus so M I square 2M I square lambda by B square L square into R plus 2 lambda X into now that V value. So V means, again I am substituting that expression there, R plus 2 lambda X by B into L into I. Now we can write here. That is, again we are substituting that V value. Now we can finally you can simplify this expression there. Therefore this force we can write this as BIL plus, and so I can write this expressions as 2M I cube into lambda by, this is again B cube into L cube. This square term you will get here, that means R plus 2 lambda X whole square, right? So that is a variable force there. So that force, again now we can observe that the only variable is X here, remaining our constants there, and so only variable term is X. So it is a force acting on this. The another question what they are asking is fraction of heat produced there. So fraction of heat produced means heat produced by total power delivered by this. Now we need to substitute here. Just I will write this fraction, then you can calculate that value here. So for the second question what they are asking is so rate of heat produced, by rate of work done. So rate of work done they are asking, so that I can write this as rate of heat produced. Now we can write this expression as rate of heat produced is nothing but E square by R we can write here. E square by R effective, or as we know I value, so then I square R you can write there. So then I square R you can write. So I square into R effective now we can write. And this rate of work done is nothing but external force F is there, so F into V. So F into this velocity now we can write here. That where F is that external force what we are applying there, variable force what we are applying there, right? So then you can substitute those values and you can simplify that. I am not doing the complete calculation. So R effective means we mentioned already there. So this is nothing but our R effective. So substitute that R effective, and F means this is our expression, and into that V value now we need to write. So that gives us that required fraction there, right? And so that is one problem here. And the next there will be, as I said, there will be a lot of problems based on this. And so now let us take this another problem here. So now again let us neglect this resistance now. So sometimes another question, another important thing they will ask here is, sometimes this may possess some resistance there. So that means this wire may possess some resistance. So then they will ask the potential difference between A and B. So remember the word potential difference and EMF both are different. Induced EMF, if they ask, then BLV you need to write. If they ask potential difference, then you need to consider it as a cell, and terminal voltage you need to write here. For example, if it is having some any internal resistance here, for example, then you need to consider the circuit like this. And so now it will behave like a cell here. And for the cell, the potential difference is nothing but you need to write this as E minus IR formula. Now we need to use here. If it is having that resistance, is it clear? So if they are having that resistance and if they are asking the potential difference in such a problems means you need to write this as E minus IR you need to write, where E is this induced EMF here. So induced EMF is different and potential difference is different. So potential difference means that behaves like a cell, and for the cell, if it is having internal resistance, then you need to write IR. If internal resistance of the rod is 0, for example, then potential difference and this EMF both are numerically same. Is it clear? And if there is no current flowing in that rod, then also potential difference and induced EMF both are numerically same. So that depends on the given case. But whenever current is flowing, you need to remember like this. You need to write this as E minus IR. And so next let us write this. Suppose here I am taking a constant force is applied here. A velocity of the rod is constant. Suppose I am taking here. This is projected with some velocity V0. The rod is projected with some velocity V0. Then we need to find velocity as a function of time, and what is the total heat produced in this rod, those questions. So just mention that on two parallel rails as shown in figure, a rod AB of length L and mass M, a rod AB of mass M, length L and mass M is projected with initial velocity V0, or is given initial velocity V0 towards right. The only resistance in the circuit is R. The only resistance in the circuit is R, as shown in figure. Find the velocity of the rod as a function of time. Velocity of the rod as a function of time. Next question, distance traveled by the rod before coming to the rest. Distance traveled by the rod before coming to the rest. And the next question, total heat produced in the resistor. Right? So these are the questions here. So then rod is projected with the initial velocity V0. Now here there is no any force here. There is no any force acting on this rod, right? And so then we need to consider like when no force is acting, rod starts moving, and so induced EMF will be there, and because of that, as it is a closed circuit, then induced current will be produced in that circuit. And whenever current is flowing through the rod, then magnetic force will also arise. Now that magnetic force will be opposite to the direction of velocity, right? Magnetic force will be, then you will get same condition. We are taking magnetic field is inwards here. So if the magnetic force will be in general will act opposite to the direction of velocity there in most of the problems, it will be a decelerating force. So then magnetic field is inwards here. You may take outward only, you can verify that. Magnetic field again you will get opposing force only, opposite to that velocity only. So then magnetic field is there inwards like this, and so then force will be along this direction. So that will be a decelerating force. And so because of that magnetic force, the velocity of this rod goes on decreasing here. So when velocity of the rod decreasing, induced EMF decreases, thereby current decreases, thereby magnetic force also decreases. And so magnetic force is also a variable quantity here. Is it clear what I am saying? Because of the magnetic force will be along this direction. What I am saying, this magnetic force will be along this direction will be there. And so because of this magnetic force, velocity decreases first. If velocity decreases, induced EMF decreases, because induced EMF we are writing as BLV. If induced EMF decreases, then current decreases. If current decreases, then magnetic force also decreases. And so these two are decreasing simultaneously. And so both are variable quantities only there. And so then we need to derive an expression for velocity as a function of time here. So first let us write, you may mention that let V be the velocity of the rod at any instant. We are assuming that as initial velocity is V naught. Now we are assuming that velocity as V naught. Let V be the velocity of the rod at any instant. Then induced EMF produced at that instant. So induced EMF produced at that instant is equal to BLV, that is induced EMF. And so then you can write that induced current. So induced current at that instant, now we can write this as E by R. So which is BLV by R, right? And so now the magnetic force, now I am writing here. So magnetic force on the rod. So F magnetic is equal to BIL. So B square L square V by R. Now let us write the force equation for the rod. So the for rod force equation, what we can write is net force is equal to only the magnetic force, and so which is equal to minus MA you can write, because it is the retarding force. And so then this value we can write this as B square L square V by R is equal to minus M into dV by dt. Now we can write. Is it clear? Just that acceleration I am writing as dV by dt. And this is the only force here. We are not taking any external force in this problem. And so then from this you can write that say dV by V is equal to. So then dV by V is equal to, then write all the remaining terms on the other side, minus B square L square by M into R into dt. Now take integration on both sides here. Integration on both sides. So then this integration is nothing but V. Velocity at any instant we need to find here. So V naught is the initial velocity when t is equal to 0, and V be the velocity at any instant of time. Is the limits are clear? At t is equal to 0, initial velocity is V naught. At any instant of time, that velocity we are taking it as V. And so now you can apply this integration, and so then you know ln function you will get. So ln V by V naught I am taking directly after these limits. And so B square L square by MR into t. And so then from this we can write this V is equal to V naught into e power minus B square L square by MR into t. And so now that is the velocity as a function of time here. Now from this, can you say after what time that velocity will become 0, or after what time that rod will come to the rest here? So what is the time taken by the rod to come to the rest? So time taken by the rod, from this expression we can say that when t tends to infinity, then only this velocity tends to 0 here, right? So that means it will take infinite time here. So initial velocity will be V naught, and at t tends to infinity, then velocity will become 0 here. So as t tends to infinity, then velocity tends to 0. So that is our condition. That means it will take infinite time here. So that is nothing but what I said in the beginning. These two are proportionally decreasing. Velocity is decreasing, thereby retarding force also decreasing. And so then that will, because of that reason, it will take that infinite time to come to the rest here. And next from this they are asking the distance. So I am not doing the distance calculations. You can do, just you can write the distance. To find the distance as ds by dt you can write. So ds is equal to v into dt and integrate that. So do that calculation by substituting this v value here, and this is from 0 to s, and this is 0 to infinity. Now we need to take as we concluded here. So you may mention that the rod will take infinite time to come to the rest, and so then that value is nothing but 0 to infinity. Now we need to take, substitute this v value here and integrate that. You will get that infinite time. That means the distance traveled you will get there. So the distance traveled you will get some finite value only. You can do that calculations there. And the next part of this question is they are asking that how much amount of energy is, heat energy is produced in this rod. And actually if you want to calculate that heat energy produced in the rod, then I square R T formula we need to apply, because here I is variable here, because as the velocity is variable, so that this I is also variable. So then you need to use that integration there actually. So instead of that you can directly apply this conservation of energy. That means actual method there is, so to find that energy, heat produced in that. So the second part of the problem, to find the heat produced. So to find heat produced here, so instead of doing this, what I can do here is, that means that is one procedure there, general procedure. Then what I can say here is, instead of this H is equal to I square R into dt, now you can write from 0 to infinite, because it will take infinite time to become current becomes 0. And so this value, now you can do that value as you can substitute this. R is a constant value, then I means you can substitute this BLV. So that V is nothing but BL V naught. V means you need to substitute this value there. So BL V naught by R into e power minus B square L square by MR into T whole square. This value is totally I whole square into dt, and this is from 0 to T. So that means you need to simplify that. If you simplify that, then you will get this heat produced. So instead of that, what I am doing here is, just we can apply the second method here to find this heat energy. So let us say the second method now. So the second method is nothing but, now what I can say here is that second method is, you can apply the conservation of energy here. So because we know that already this conservation of energy is valid in this. So this conservation of energy, if I apply, so conservation of energy, by conservation of energy is nothing but initial energy is equal to final energy. Now we can write here. So the initial energy is nothing but only kinetic energy we are giving here. So that will be equal to the total heat produced there. So finally that will come to the rest here. So then total energy produced in that circuit, we can directly write that as half m V naught square, because only we are giving that kinetic energy here. Only we are giving that the total energy is in the form of kinetic energy. Finally this rod will come to the rest here. So then finally that means where that energy will goes means that energy will converts into the heat energy there. So then you can write that heat energy equation directly in a single step like this. If you are applying this conservation of energy, that means even if you are doing this calculation, finally you will get this answer only. You may verify that. Finally you will get that answer only, right? So then that is another problem based on this U-shaped frame here. And next, sometimes they may give this another external force may be given in the same problem, and then they will ask that this is a constant force will be given, like F naught is a constant force acting on that. Then with the force F naught, they will ask like velocity as a function of time. Then here you need to take this force equation here. F minus Fm you may consider there, then integrate that equation, then you will get that force equation. And just note that problem and you may solve that later. In a similar way, just here force equation is F minus F naught you may take there. F minus F naught is equal to ma, and then you can integrate that equations there. So then initially this may be greater, so you may take that as positive acceleration only. After certain time, then you may get that retardation. So initially it will be positive acceleration will be there, and finally you will get the terminal velocity in that case, right? So that means initially positive acceleration will be there. You need to take that as positive acceleration here. Just you need to write this equation as F naught minus Fm is equal to ma you need to take here. So just mention that problem there, and I am giving that as a work for you. Just you may draw the diagram and same everything here except this Fm. In the system shown in figure, the rod AB is pulled on the horizontal rails. The rod AB is pulled on the horizontal rails with say constant force F naught. Constant force F naught. M is the mass of the rod and L is its length. M is mass of the rod and L is its length. And so in that first question, find velocity of the rod as a function of time. Find velocity of the rod as a function of time. And the next question, find the terminal velocity of the rod. Find the terminal velocity of the rod. So all of you know the terminal velocity means. So finally, as I said, this is a force equation. This F naught is, as I said, it is a constant value. Then Fm value goes on increasing there because current increases, and so then magnetic force will increase. And so once the magnetic force is increasing, there will be a stage like where these two are equal. So then that acceleration will become 0. So then constant velocity will be there. That constant velocity is nothing but we call the terminal velocity there, right? So once if you derive that velocity, then you will get that what is the maximum possible velocity in that velocity expression there. So then from that you can find the maximum possible velocity is nothing but our terminal velocity, or directly you can do like this. F naught minus Fm is equal to 0 you may take, because terminal velocity means acceleration should be 0. So like that also you can solve that problem. So solve that problem. And so next I am taking this, instead of this resistance here, now I am taking a capacitor. So let us take let us consider it as a capacitor now. So as I said, for the same arrangement, a lot of problems will be there in this topic for the same parallel rails. So now let us take it as a capacitor. Now I am taking that it is moving with that constant velocity V naught. So just write that. As shown in the figure, the two parallel rails are connected by a neutral capacitor of capacitance C, If the rod AB is moving with the constant velocity V naught, if the rod AB is moving with the constant velocity V naught, then find current flowing through the rod, and also find charge on the capacitor, right? Suppose I am taking that it is moving with some say constant velocity. Now we are taking here, so you can write this induced EMF. Now we can write here, so induced EMF is equal to BL V naught. Now we can write here. So now in case of this say capacitors are there, now you can't write the current equation directly, right? Just by using our current equation, you can't write E by, that means Ohm's law you can't apply here. I is equal to V by R formula, now we can't write directly here. So whenever this EMFs and capacitors are there in the circuit, so after finding this potential difference, now we need to take that charge equation there. So because now simply you can apply this, you can convert this into circuit. If you are getting confusion here, you can convert this into circuit. Field is there into the plane, rod is moving the direction, so that means current is flowing from A to B, so B will be the higher potential. Then you can convert this into a circuit like this. So then this is our circuit here, right? This is our A and this is our B, and this is our induced EMF BL V naught, so which is a constant value. And so now this is the capacitor here. So just you may apply this Kirchhoff law, or you can write directly here because it is a simple circuit. So the charge on the capacitor, now I am writing here. So charge on the capacitor is equal to, so charge on capacitor Q is equal to C into V formula. Now we can write there, V means potential difference, so which is C into E. And so then you can write this equation as C into, so C into BL V naught. Now we can write here. And so now this is our charge expression there, charge on this capacitor at any instant. Now if we want to find the current, we need to differentiate this, right? So that means current we can write this as I is equal to dq by dt. Now we can write. And so then here these values are E is constant, B is constant, L is also constant. If there is possibility, then velocity may change here, right? But in this problem, velocity is also given as a constant for us. The rod is pulled with a constant force there, or it is moving with a constant force. So velocity is also constant. So when velocity is constant, then this differentiation is 0. So that what we can conclude here is current is 0 here, right? So maximum charge will be there on the capacitor, which is equal to, that means constant current will be there. So once it starts moving here, then EMF will be produced, and so charging of the capacitor will take place here. So once the charging of capacitor takes place there, then further there is no flow of charges. Further there is no flow of charges means then there is no current flowing through the circuit here. Once the charging of capacitor is completed, and so that there is no charging of that capacitor, right? So next let us take this, now instead of this, now we are applying some force here. A force F is applied on this. So now write this similar problem here. So again draw this circuit. As shown in the circuit, a neutral capacitor C is connected between the two rails. A neutral capacitor C is connected between the two rails. And at T is equal to 0, a force F is applied on the rod. A constant force F is applied on the rod. A constant force F is applied on the rod. Then find acceleration of the rod, and velocity of the rod as a function of time. Right? So whenever such a force is given, you need to assume like velocity as a function of time. That means velocity at any instant you need to assume here. So let us consider that velocity at any function is v here. So at any time. So first you may mention that assumption. This v0 is not there now. Let v be the velocity of the rod at any instant. And therefore that induced EMF is equal to, so BLV now we can write here. So then charge on the capacitor, now we can write this as, so whenever a capacitor is there in the circuit, this is only the procedure there. If CR is there, then you need to apply the Kirchhoff laws. If CR circuit is given, so then if resistance is also there, CR circuit in the sense. So if only capacitor is there, so just write the EMF and then take this potential difference, that means charge equation, Q is equal to CV equation. So then C into now BLV now you can write. And so now you can write this equation as, this is a charge equation, and from this now we can write this current here. So current I is equal to then dq by dt now you can write. So dq by dt means now I can write this as C into B into L into dV by dt. Now here V is variable only because velocity is not constant, force is constant here. And so velocity of the rod is variable, so we may take that as some acceleration A. So that this I is equal to CBLA. So where A is acceleration here, this is nothing but our acceleration of the rod we are assuming there, right? Acceleration of the rod, A means. And so since as the current is flowing in this rod here, you can say the magnetic force will arise there. So the magnetic force direction is fielded into the plane, current is flowing in upward direction, so the magnetic force will be along this direction here. So the magnetic force will be there along this direction. And so as the magnetic force is there and external force is there, then you need to apply our net force equation. And therefore this net force equation, now I can write this as net force is equal to F minus Fm. And so this is equal to MA, now we need to write here the net force equation. So F minus Fm value, now we can write this as BIL is equal to MA. And therefore this F is equal to BIL plus MA. And this I value now we can substitute by using this equation here. So then BL into that I value is nothing but CBLA plus MA. And therefore this F is equal to B square L square into C plus M into A. So we need our acceleration of the rod here. Therefore that acceleration of the rod you can write this as A is equal to F by B square L square into C plus M. So this is our acceleration of the rod. And now in this we can observe that all are constants only, right? So that means force is constant, B is constant, L is constant, and C is constant, all are constant. Therefore this acceleration is a constant value. When acceleration is constant, velocity as a function of time is simply you can write this as V is equal to U plus A. So like that you can find this velocity as a function of time there. So in this generally they will ask about this acceleration of the rod here. The acceleration of the rod you can calculate like that. And next like sometimes they may ask the question like the same arrangement if it is placed in vertical plane like this. So then next to draw this, write that problem. So if it is placed like this. So now the rod is placed like this, rod is released from rest here. This is our capacitance and this is say L, and mass of this rod is M. Right? This is our AB. Now the magnetic field is there into the plane like this. That means horizontal magnetic field. So just to mention that if the circuit in the previous problem, if the circuit in the previous problem is placed vertically as shown, in a horizontal magnetic field of induction B, and if the rod is released from rest, then find acceleration of the rod. G is acceleration due to gravity. That means G is acceleration due to gravity means you need to consider the gravity here. There up to now our frame is lying in horizontal plane. Our U-shaped that parallel rails arrangement is lying on the horizontal frame now. Now this is like we are placing it now in vertical plane here, right? So then this is our possibility here. So this means you can follow the same procedure here. Just here instead of that external force here, mg is there here. That is only the thing here. So mg is there. Because of that mg, the rod starts moving downwards here, and magnetic force is there in upward direction here. So write all these equations and do the problem. And finally, I am writing this acceleration equation here. So you will get the answer like this: mg by b square L square c plus m you will get. So just that instead of this force in the previous problem, you will get our mg. Mg as our force you will get, because that just that instead of that force, the only constant force acting in downward direction is mg. And sometimes the same problem may be placed on the inclined plane here. That means two rails may be placed like this on an inclined plane. And so then inclined plane like this. Now a rod AB is sliding here. This rod AB is released from rest. So then instead of this mg, now the force is mg sine theta now we will get here. So in this case. So in that case, that acceleration of the rod means then you need to write mg sine theta by that b square plus a square now we need to write here. That means this expression you need to write mg sine theta by like b square L square c plus mg now m you need to write here, right? If the arrangement is given like this, if the rod is sliding on an inclined plane, so if the two rails are placed at some angle theta with that inclined plane, so the same question they may change the orientations like that, right? Next, sometimes is up to now we consider like motion of the rod in uniform magnetic field. So sometimes there may be situation of the rod may move in the non-uniform magnetic field. So in that also then our procedure will be just we write for a small element, induced EMF for the small element, and then you need to integrate that equation. Like simply I will give you an example here. So simply you can consider the case like this. So this rod is carrying some current I. Now this is a long current carrying conductor. Now I am taking a rod here. This is a rod here. This is placed perpendicular to that, and it is moving with some velocity v. Let us take this is that a distance of a from this, and length of this rod is b. I am taking here. So just write this. A rod of length L, a rod of length b, is placed perpendicular to a long current carrying conductor, carrying current I, as shown in figure. If the rod is moving with velocity v, if the rod is moving with velocity v, then find induced EMF produced in the rod. Then find induced EMF produced in the rod. Right. So the field is variable here. It is clear for us. Now the field is only produced by this conductor here. So that produces a magnetic field inwards here, but that field is variable in magnitude. So that clearly shows that we need to take a small element and we need to write an expression for that. Suppose I am taking a small element here, say at a distance of x from this wire. So let us take this element as dx here. So now let us write the induced EMF for this small element there, and then you can integrate that. So for small element, then what I can write here is dE is equal to induced EMF produced in the small element there. So then B into dx into V, because these three are perpendicular to each other, so I can write this expression like this. And so now this is, therefore this dE is equal to, now B is nothing but mu naught I by 2 pi x. So the magnetic field at a distance of x from this long current carrying wire. So into V into dx. Therefore just you can integrate this equation here. Therefore induced EMF is equal to B into, you can integrate this equation. So there the constant terms are mu naught I into V by 2 pi is a constant. Then integral of dx by x you can write here. And so this x varies from a to a plus b. So therefore finally I can write this induced EMF is equal to, so induced EMF E is equal to, I can write this as mu naught I into V by 2 pi into ln a plus b by a you can write. Is it clear? So it is the induced EMF in that case. When the wire is moving in a non-uniform magnetic field, then induced EMF can be written like that. And so next, similarly, instead of this, you may consider like sometimes they will give some loops there. Conducting closed loop may be placed, or that may be moving this non-uniform fields. So let us write that. Let us consider that case now. So then this is our wire here. Now let us take this. So this is a closed loop I am taking. Suppose this length is L and this is a square loop of side L I am taking here. So you need to answer that induced EMF produced in this loop when the wire is loop is moving along. In the next case we need to write along this direction. Suppose I am taking this XY direction here. So I will say the common question for that. So write that. A square loop ABCD. A square loop ABCD is a square loop of side L. A square loop ABCD of side L is placed near a long current carrying conductor. Near a long current carrying conductor, as shown in figure. Find induced EMF produced in the loop. When it is moving with velocity v. Along x-axis, and when it is moving with velocity v. Along y-axis. As shown in the figure. Along x-axis and along y-axis as shown in the figure. So first I am taking that when the velocity is there along this x direction here, that means when velocity is there like this. So first I am discussing along this x-axis here, right? So when the loop is moving along x-axis, first I am solving here. So for that actually you can solve it in two different ways. In two different methods you can solve this problem here. Because as the rod is moving with the velocity v, then directly you can write that induced EMF produced in the rod as BLV formula now we can apply here. And so where that B is different for the rod AB and CD rods, magnetic field is different for the rods B and C. So at that instant you can apply that BLV formula there, right? So that is one way, and another way you can calculate the flux and you can do the calculations there. So just I am doing this first direct method here. So the direct method what I can write here is therefore net induced EMF is equal to, so induced EMF in AB. So let's suppose I am taking it as E1. In AB rod I am taking that. So clearly you can say that there is no induced EMF in the BC rod or in the AD rod, because these lengths are parallel to that of velocity here. BC is parallel to velocity, so induced EMF is 0, and similarly AD is parallel to that velocity, so that no induced EMF will be there in those two sides. Only induced EMF will be there between these two conductors, or between, that means in those two conductors there. So I can write this expression as so there B1 into L into V I can write. So there that B1 is nothing but mu naught I by, where I is a current here, so let it be small I we are taking there, 2 pi L, right? So this distance we are taking it as 2 pi L from this. So then 2 pi L into V. So this L as we are taking that side square is L, and this distance also L I am taking. If they give the different values, then different values will be there. And so here that values will be cancelled here according to our data. So then 2 pi you will get. So is it clear? So let's suppose this is our equation 1. So next I am writing that induced EMF in CD rod. So let's suppose I am taking this as E2. So that E2 value now I can write this as B2 into L into V. So B2 is now magnetic field at this position here along this rod. Now this rod CD is at a distance of 2L from this. And so now I can write this expression as mu naught I by 2 pi into L plus L, now we can consider here, into L into V. Therefore this induced EMF is mu naught I by 2 pi into 2, so you will get here 4 pi, and that L will be cancelled there, right? And so now that EMFs, if you consider these polarities here, the magnetic field is there in this region into the plane, and so then velocity is there along the direction, so that lower end will be the that means lower potential there. Like if you are taking CD, then D will be the lower potential, and if you are taking like AD, then A will be the lower potential. That means then you can write this circuit as, you can write that circuit as like this. So then lower potentials will be there like this. So then this is our ABCD circuit. So then this is our E1 and this is our E2. So both the cells are connected oppositely, and therefore this net EMF you can write this as so net EMF is equal to E net is equal to, I can write like E1 minus E2 we can write. So E is equal to mu naught I by V into 2 pi, now we can take common. So according to this here I can write this as 1 minus 1 by 2, now we can write here. So that these values are mu naught I into V by 4 pi, now we can write. So this is an EMF produced here. And so as I am taking L and L, we are getting that value, or in terms of like if you are taking this as some A or this as some B, then you may get some expressions in terms of that A and B, right? So you need to note that one. And next, actually, as I said, you can also solve it in another way. So another way means then you may consider that at any instant, say it is at a distance of some A from this, or let us consider some at a distance of say X from this here at any instant, this wire is, and now you may consider a distance another, you may consider a small element, and you may write the flux passing through that. So flux is variable, that means by writing the flux, and you can differentiate that flux there. So that is another method there. So just I will explain how to solve. This is an easy method, just because already we know the BLV formula. So just the induced EMF will be there in AB rod and CD rod, so that we are writing it directly like this. So you can also solve it in another way. Just I am doing this flux calculation here. The second method for this is, for the same case is, so you can assume like it is at a distance of, at any instant this end is at a distance of X, and so now we may consider this an element at a distance of Y from this here, and so now let us write the flux passing through this small element here. So dy, so d phi I am writing here, flux passing through the small element. So then B into the dA you can write, where that B is nothing but mu naught I by 2 pi X or 2 pi Y we are taking here. mu naught I by 2 pi y into area of that element. You can write this as L into dy. This side L, let us take here, L we are taking, so L into dy. So then from this we can write the total flux here. So the total flux is mu naught I by 2 pi into 2 pi L into integral of dy by y. Now the y limits are varying from L to x plus x to x plus L. X to x plus L. That means at any instant we are assuming that this distance is at L. Now it is not at L here. Now finally we will substitute that. We are assuming at any instant it will be at a distance of x we are assuming there. And so now x is a lower limit and x plus L is the upper limit there. So that you will get this flux calculation here. Therefore I can write this flux is equal to mu naught I into L by 2 pi into, I can write like ln x plus L minus ln x. Now this is our flux value, and now we can differentiate this flux here. Our induced EMF is nothing but minus d phi by dt. Now you need to write here, and you can differentiate that. And after differentiating, finally you can substitute that x is equal to L. You can substitute there. After differentiating that and substitute that, we need the induced EMF at the instant L is equal to x, right? So finally you can substitute that value here. So you can differentiate this, and you can find this this value at x is equal to L. Then you will get the same expression here. So like by calculating the flux also you can do that calculation, but this will be the simplest method for that. And then next the another method, the another problem what they are asking is so that you can directly answer there with the help of our previous concept. So like when it is moving along this direction here. So now when this rod is moving along this, when this total frame is moving along this direction here, it is moving parallel to this wire. So now in this what we can say is induced EMF produced in the AB and CD will be 0 now. So the second part now when we are considering here, induced EMF produced in the AB rod is equal to, and induced EMF produced in the CD rod is equal to 0. And then induced EMF produced in the BC and AD we already calculated in the previous calculation. Our with non-uniform field, that is nothing but our only first problem there. So that means now induced EMF produced in this AB and CD rod if you want to calculate here. For example, BC rod if you want to calculate here. So this is our BC rod. Now we need to take a small element. That is our first problem only, which we discussed already. So that first problem we need to calculate there. So the induced EMF dE we can write this as B into dx into V, because it is moving with the velocity V along this direction. And so this is mu naught into I by 2 pi into V into integral of dx by x. So here that x value varies from L to L. So this distance is L we are taking here, and this is also L. So x varies from L to 2L here. So that means this value will get like mu naught I into V by 2 pi into like ln2 you will get, right? So this is our induced EMF between BC, or induced EMF between AD also you will get the same expression here. Now those two are equal and opposite here. That means if you are applying this, which is higher potential, if you are applying, field is into the plane and rod is moving here. So current is flowing from C to A, C to B. C to B means, and C will be the lower potential here. So we can represent this circuit like this. That means now this will be the circuit here, so that these two are equal in magnitude and opposite direction. Therefore this net EMF is equal to EBC minus EAD. Now we need to answer, so which is 0. So then there is no net EMF produced in that when it is moving along this direction. Or you can say that in another way you can say simply as flux passing through that loop will remain same. There is no change in that flux, because whatever the initially, suppose initially it is here, whatever the flux is passing here, the same flux will be there even if it is moving after some distance also, because the distance of the loop from this wire is not changing here. But whereas here the loop is moving along this direction, then distance of the loop is changing here, their magnetic flux is changing there. But if it is moving like this, flux passing through the loop will remain constant. So we can directly answer that there is no induced EMF produced in that loop, right? And then here one more problem will be there. So let us write that problem. So I will give that problem there. That is another model. So note down that problem there. A parabola is there. A parabola is mentioned as so we'll just take this is our x and y axis here. So this parabolic equation is given as y is equal to like c into x square. So note down that data. I will give that data there. So parabola is placed in a uniform magnetic field B. So uniform magnetic field B is into the plane here. Uniform magnetic field B. So the next at t is equal to 0, a connecting slider starts translating on the parabolic apex, parabola from the apex, constant acceleration A. Find the magnetic induction in the loop as a function of y. That means here a connecting slider is there here. This rod is moving here actually. A sliding rod is there here of sufficient length is there. Of sufficient length this slider is there here. So this is moving with the constant acceleration A. That is a given information there. And so now we need to answer induced EMF produced in this loop. Now we need to answer here. Is it clear? The given data, the acceleration is given as constant there, right? And so next simply there we need to consider like when it is traveling a small distance y here, we need to write that what is the flux passing through that loop. Now we need to write here. So the flux passing through the loop, we can write this as it is starting from the apex, that is given there. Initially it is starting from this apex there. So let us consider it is traveling a small distance there. So when it is traveling a small distance, then what I can write here is so it is traveling a small distance, we may consider there, then flux covered, now we need to write here. Suppose say this distance I am taking it as x and this distance I am taking it as dy. For the small displacement, at any instant for the small displacement, this is the area covered by this rod here. So then I can write this as b into 2x into dy, now we can consider that, right? And so that x value now we can write by using this equation here. So b is a constant value. So the x value now we can write this as where x is equal to I can write this as y by c under root. So you can substitute that value there. Therefore d phi is equal to b into 2 into under root of y by c into dy. And so now we can write this expression as this total flux equation. Now we can write here. So b into 2 by root c. Sorry, this is root c. And integral of this root y into dy, now we can write here. And so then this value is say from 0 to y, you can consider this. So just let us integrate that equation. So b is equal to 2b by root c into, so y integration, you know that y power 1 by 2 plus 1 by 1 by 2 plus 1. So we can write this expression as so phi is equal to 4b by 3 into root c into y into root y, now we can write here, right? So this is our y expression there. So this is our magnetic field expression here. And now that y value, now we can substitute as a function of time. So that means finally what I can write there is magnetic flux expression as, so say this, I am writing this expression as 4b by 3 into root c into y power, this is 1 by 3, let us consider 1 by 2, so 3 by 2, that is, so it is 3 by 2, now we can write here y into root y. And so now that y value now as a function of t, now we need to find here. So that means as the rod is moving with a constant acceleration, but where y we can write this as y is equal to half at square, now we can write, just we are using that s is equal to ut plus half at square equation here. U is 0, it starts from the apex is shown there. So then as a function of t I am substituting there, or y value directly you can substitute in the equations there, so that you will get as a function of time you will get, so we can find the induced EMF there. and so therefore this y is equal to then 4b into 3 into root c into this is half a into half a t square whole power 3 by 2. Half a t square whole power 3 by 2 you will get whole power 3 by 2. And so then just you can take the t outside there. So it is 4b by 3 into root c into a by 2 whole power 3 by 2 into t cube you will get. Just if you are writing the t outside. So then induced EMF is nothing but so induced EMF, now I can write this as E is equal to minus d phi by dt, and therefore the modulus of this induced EMF we can write this as the differentiation of that function 3 into root c into a by 2 whole power 3 by 2 into 3 t square. So that 3 you can cancel there. Therefore this induced EMF will be equal to 4 into 4b by root c into a by 2 whole power 3 by 2 into t square. Now we can write there. So that is our induced EMF as a function of time there, and you can so that is as a function of time you can substitute that expression. And finally if you want to write again as a function of y, suppose if the options as a function of y if you are they are asking, then again this half a t square term you can substitute by using this equation here. T square value you can write there, and finally again you will get as a function of time you will get there. So in such a problems you need to solve like this. The flux for the small displacement we are writing and we are differentiating there, then you will get induced EMF produced in that loop, right? So next to see this problem here, in this the magnetic field is varying as a function of time and as a function of space also. That means B is changing with the both. Up to now we discussed the problems like B is changing either with the time or either with the distance it is changing there. Now it is changing with the both. And so that means now it is a closed loop here, rectangular loop is placed here. So let us take this as A, B, C, D here. So in this loop now the magnetic field is magnetic field is placed perpendicular to this plane here. So the time varying magnetic field is given. So we need to find the induced EMF in that. So just to mention that a rectangular loop ABCD is placed in a magnetic field which varies with the time and space as 4t square into x square. Then find the induced EMF produced in the loop as a function of time. Find the induced EMF produced in the loop as a function of time. So that means for such a type of problems, first we calculate the total flux passing through this loop with respect to the time here. That means with respect to the, let us take a small element here. So I am taking a small element because it is varying as a function of x. So at a distance of x, I am taking a small element here. So let us write this flux passing through this small element here. So flux through small element at any instant of time t. Now t we consider it as a constant. At any instant of time t, what is the total flux passing through that small through the loop we need to write here. So for small element, flux passing through it at any instant of time. So at any instant t is given by, therefore this d phi is equal to b into the area of that element dA. Now we need to write here that the area you can take that as the area and b bar you may assume that as both are in the same direction you can consider. So then this is b into that b value, now we can substitute there 4t square into x square into area of that element. I can write this as b into dx. This side I am taking as b, so b into dx now we can write. So now we need to integrate this equation here to write the total flux. So integral of 4t square into x square b into dx. Now as I said here, we are calculating at any instant of time. So at any instant of time is constant we need to consider here. So at any instant of time, just our aim is to calculate how much flux is passing through this. And so then you can write this as from 0 to W or 0 to this L you can consider here. So the time is constant I am taking here. So then 4t square into b is a constant. So then x square into dx now we can consider there. So this is nothing but 0 to L. That L value is given as, let us take that as 3 meters here. So therefore phi is equal to 4t square into b into this value will be x cube by 3 you will get. So that means here L cube by 3. So that L is 0 to 3, now we can substitute there. So which is 4t square into b value is also given for us. We can substitute that b value. So into 3 cube by 3 you can write. So therefore finally this expression is like 1 3 you can cancel here, 9 into 8, so 72 t square you will get. So this is the flux at any instant of time. Now the induced EMF, now we can write this as induced EMF is equal to modulus I am taking here d phi by dt, now we can write. So now you can differentiate with respect to time here, that gives the induced EMF produced at that instant, and so therefore this induced EMF is equal to 72 into t square differentiation, so 2t you can write, therefore induced EMF is equal to 144 into t you can write. So this will be the induced EMF produced at any instant of time there, right? So that is the induced EMF calculations there. And sometimes in such a problems they will give the case like the conductors, the loops are moving with some velocity there. Both are, that means flux is varying with respect to time and with respect to space, and the loop is moving also. Here loop is at rest, so that we did like this. So when the loop is moving, just we can use a integration, that means differentiation formula like this. So just write that as a note. So just mention that when the magnetic field varies with both time and space, and a loop is moving through such a magnetic field, then induced EMF can be obtained as so now we are writing this equation like this. So first we differentiate with respect to time, and then we differentiate with respect to the space like this. And so with respect to that x, for example, if it is varying with the x, then the dx by dt, just we are multiplying with x and dividing with the x here, so that expression finally you can write this equation as so dou phi by dou t plus dou phi by dou x into v. So that means now you can use this formula in such a cases there, when it is variable with the time and space, and at the same time when the loop is moving, then you can use such a problems there, right? So these are some concepts based on this, or problems based on this motional EMF there. So in motional EMF we discussed, until now we discussed only the translatory motion. So in that rotatory motion is also there, that I will explain in this next class. So for this weekend the syllabus will be only in motional EMF, only up to the translational motion only, EMF due to the translational motion of the conductors only, right? Thank you.